So why are some Black Americans anti-Mexican and anti-immigrant? It's a question that I've been exploring myself for a really long time, understanding and getting to the bottom of. So I'm gonna talk about that in this video today. Being someone who is Afro-Latino with a very Black Hispanic parent, I feel like I have a perspective that I'm gonna share that a lot of people, of course, don't normally like to speak on and touch on, but that's why your girl is here. I have a message to spread. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it, bro. Mexican parents, which that's my experience because that's my background. Mexican parents, no matter what color, are extremely prejudiced towards Black Americans. And it is actually very common. It has been going on forever. And Black Americans are catching on to that. Let's keep the ball rolling with this one. When I first came here to the US, I had just came out of a very small village, Afro-Indigenous village. And of course, when I first came here, I immediately met African Americans and of course the white Americans. We all had an idea of what they were like. We wanted to befriend them. We thought it was awesome. As a minority living in another country, you think Americans are really cool, as opposed to someone that's more, let's say in Europe, they hate Americans. And even in some parts of my country, Americans are not really welcomed or loved. But in a small or minority village, poverty-ridden places, Americans are a dream. And I think that's very innocent-minded and a really beautiful idea to have as well. I don't think that's a bad thing, all right? I didn't know what being African American was. I didn't know everybody's background, even the white Americans. I didn't really know their history yet, right? I just knew everybody was from the United States and they were rich and awesome. One thing that I always talk about is kind of like, what is the movie Home Alone? That's my idea of the US, wealth and just white families. That's kind of how I had that idea. Of course, I know that's not true for all white people. So over time, when I started learning English and understanding things more, learning about history, of course, African American history, now I know that they didn't tell us the full truth about it. But, learning about slavery and learning about Malcolm X and Harriet Tubman and all of that, I was extremely inspired and I immediately became a really big explorer of African American history, the background of slavery and the result of the African American society we have today in present day, right? So I have that understanding now, and I'm a big, huge advocate and ally for my African American brothers and sisters. Now, I did see that my own parents had a lot of prejudices, ideas, stereotypes that they were told about the African American community. And then I started noticing that my friends' parents are the same way, and everybody's parents, and the elders were even worse. I was shocked, to say the least. To openly call Black folks an N-word, dehumanize, and hold them to the stereotypes that are straight up BS, not thinking of ourselves as one. That is something that exists and that I cannot defend. And even as a Mexican myself, a Latina myself, it's freaking bullshit. So back to my point, why do some Black Americans have or don't want to have an allyship towards Mexicans, Hispanics, or just the immigrant community in general? I'm not saying that it's okay to be inhumane, call us illegal aliens and doing the same thing. The majority are white folks who are being like this towards us, but there is this percentage of folks that exist and they're saying, do not fight, this is not your fight to fight, don't get into it. I wanted to share this really just kind of unusual perspective from a Hispanic as well. And this is the time where we need to all come together as one, y'all. Like, this is not the time for petty arguments and all that stuff, but it is a good time to start creating awareness, shutting down racism from your abuelas, your tias, your tios, your tu mamá, tu papá, everybody. Cut them off. Not like, come on. Do not be a bystander to the bullshit. That's all I'm saying.
Hello there, folks. I really hope you're doing fine from whichever part of the world you're watching this from. Now, today we have a very interesting discussion whereby we are going to try and unpack the relationship between the Black Americans, the Black community, and the Latinos. So for a long time, there has not been a good relationship between the Blacks and the Latinos, simply because at some point when there are issues to be discussed or, some governance issues that come about, then normally the Latinos tend to side with the white folks. Maybe because of their skin color, they tend to think that they are, approximate to the white folks more than the Black folks, which is not the case. When there is issues, then now they realize that they really need the Black folks, and we and the Latinos have the same problems. So historically, Black Americans and Latinos have shared common struggles, especially around civil rights, discrimination, and economic inequality in the US. And in many moments, Black leaders and communities publicly warned Latinos about political choices that could harm immigrant rights, workers' protection, and social programs. So, despite those warnings, noticeable portion of Latino voters supported Donald Trump, often due to the economic promises that were given, or the conservative values, religion, or the anti-social socialism messaging. So many Black Americans viewed this support as troubling, and because Trump-era policies had documented negative impacts on immigrants, minorities, and communities of the color. So let's have a look at these few clips that I came across and compiled, and then we'll have a really quick discussion at the end of it.
Latinos in the United States have not earned the support of black people for us to be demanding, oh yeah, why aren't they coming out to protest with us? Why aren't they engaging in activism with us? Because we haven't earned it at all, in the slightest. Or did you guys forget that 46% of all eligible Latino voters voted for Donald Trump in the 2024 presidential election? Or how about the fact that racism, anti-blackness, colorism, all of these things are still very much pervasive in our communities? Bro, Latinos haven't even reconciled with the fact that they can't use the N-word unless they're also black themselves, because Afro-Latinos exist. Oh, and if we're talking about Miami, oof, you'll see the whitest MAGA Latinos be like, bro, but I grew up in the hood. I grew up around black people in Overtown or in Liberty City. I could say it, bro. No one's going to stop me from saying it. It's my right. I'm not racist. I have a black friend. We haven't even gotten over that. And we want black people to go to protest with us, to engage in activism with us, putting their lives, their freedom, their bodies on the line? No. I completely understand any black person that wants to just disengage, disregard us. I get it, guys. I really, really do. And we, as Latinos, as a collective, should not be harboring resentment against black people, criticizing them, getting angry at them, questioning them. No. No. Because we've earned this. They are completely justified in feeling the way they feel and doing what they're doing. Now, I would like to give a message to the black folks watching this video. You are completely justified in your feelings and in doing what you're doing, and I respect it. But please remember that black folks are also being affected by this persecution of undocumented migrants. And I feel like that's not talked about enough either. Here, Miami, Florida is the best example. Haitians, Jamaicans, Bahamians, Afro-Cubans, Afro-Hondurans, Garifunas, black people from all over Latin America and all over the world, Africans, just so many black people that are also undocumented that are really being affected by the persecution of this administration. And of course, much like any other entity in space, black folks in immigration detention centers, in the immigration system, are treated worse than their white, Latino, Asian counterparts. So it's really important to acknowledge that and just let you guys know. But yeah, Latinos, we need to tighten up. If you guys want the support of the black community, then earn it. Demonstrate that we can solve these issues of racism in our own communities, and please stop saying the N-word. If you're not black, don't say the N-word. It's really simple, actually.
Watching these raids happen in LA right now, I think right now the black and the brown community, we need to come together.
Is it possible Latinos are the final boss of racism? That's the way it looks. Is it possible you only call for black people? You only think about black people when you need help. That's the way it feels. When everything's going good for Latinos, for Hispanics, there is no white supremacy. The second things are going bad, black people, come save us. Save us from the white boogeyman. No. How many times has Black America woken up at 3 a.m., went down to our basement, jumped in the Batmobile, and said, okay, we'll save the day again. And just like Batman, do we ever really get credit? No. Latinos want to sick the dogs on us when they say, there is no white supremacy. Latinos have anti-black racism when they say, stop complaining, black people. I love Latinos, I love Hispanics, but I have to give y'all what y'all give us. Stop complaining. Stop complaining.
I'm seeing some misplaced anger from some Latino people coming out saying, oh, black people, you need to be out there with us, front line, standing with us in solidarity. We did. We stood with y'all in that voting booth. Black people voted in solidarity against that man. I'm not saying this is not our fight. What I am saying, we stood up for y'all when y'all didn't stand up for yourselves. Matter of fact, let me show you something right quick. This is from American Society, Council of Americas, who got their data from the Associated Press, as you can see right here. 42% Latino voters cast a ballot for Donald Trump. Y'all are house divided. Now, to compare, 81% of black folks voted for Kamala Harris, actively voted against what's happening right now. So I'm not saying don't be upset, but maybe direct it towards your own kinfolk, your own skinfolk first, because we stood with y'all in that booth.
Latinos of all backgrounds, do y'all not realize black people are not the only people in this country? You got your Chinese Americans, your Japanese Americans, your Korean Americans, your Indian Americans, your Muslim Americans, your white Americans, and your own people. So why in Davy Jones' locker are y'all so pressed and mad at us because we not out protesting? Folks, we did the most effective protesting last November, and the data proves it. We protested when it mattered the most. We were not out here with whole productions talking about some we will vote for Donald Trump. Y'all was out here with that foolishness, knowing full well, that y'all had a few abuelas, a few tios, tias, mijo, and mijas in your house undocumented. But y'all got y'all behinds on stage talking about some we will vote for Donald Trump. And you think we supposed to be out here protesting, picket fence in hand, clowning like some monkeys in a zoo? No, sir, bop. We did what we were supposed to do. And y'all put y'all's own community in the position that it's in now. And y'all need to live with it.
Hi, my name is Leandro. You guys might know me by this video. And I just want to say something to the Latino population who keeps coming to TikTok and saying, no, calling out Americans, and specifically Black Americans, and being like, why aren't you guys standing up for us? We did it in Black Lives Movement. As an Afro-Latino, myself, we have to hold accountability for our actions. 60% of our people voted for that guy, voted for these deportations. Many of your family members voted for this guy, even though they knew you were maybe LGBTQ, maybe you were trans, maybe you had HIV, maybe you depended on scholarships because now you want to get rid of the border education, went to public school, right, were undocumented, right? All of these reasons, knowing this guy is literally the representation of white supremacy. The KKK supported this guy. He released the Project 2025 a whole year before the election. And we sat down, we told you what was gonna happen, and you still chose this guy. Okay? Just because he has conservative beliefs, the ones that your grandma and your parents were taught in Latin America, how did that work out for us? How much family trauma do we have for these conservative beliefs in South America and Latin America? A lot, right? A lot. So anytime we speak about liberalism, everybody should have access to healthcare. Everybody, should not be able to be discriminated against based on the color of his skin or his race. even if they have the same qualifications as their white counterpart. Like, is that so wrong? Is that so wrong? I don't think so. But going back to the main topic of Latinos asking Black Americans to stand up for them and help them, and Black Americans are like, you chose that, that is your battle. I approve that message. I approve it. I know I might get flagged for saying this, but it's true. As Latinos, we need to take accountability for our actions. And yes, not all of us voted for that guy, but we need to address the ones that did, call them out, and correct and revalue ourselves. Because just because you do not agree with, I don't know, reproductive rights or the LGBTQ community, which Kamala Harris did, right? Maybe because you don't agree with that, doesn't mean that this other guy does. Right? Doesn't mean that he's a better option for you, because remember, you're still a person of color. And I know a lot of you light-skinned Latinos or white Latinos who, honestly, you're not white American passing. And even if you are and you have an accent like mine, as soon as you open that mouth, you're done. You're done. So I just want to let you guys know that we need to do something. And there's no one else to blame than us. Hope this helps.
Protest with the immigrants, cuz. What? We need to go downtown and protest with the essays.
Go down there and protest?
Yeah, black and brown love. We are allies, blood.
Let me think about that.
Right. Man, LA, dog, if you know, and if you don't, you don't. LA's racist.
But at the time, Martinez in that recording also referred to the child as a monkey. The councilman in a statement called the comments vile and disgraceful and said that, quote, Martinez attacked her son with horrific racist slurs and talked about her desire to physically harm him.
Well, we don't want to sign to no blacks. Right. Southsiders do want, I don't want to speak on that, but we don't want to sign to no blacks.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
The Mexican gang, they already have their laws.
Yeah.
And you're going to follow their laws.
Yeah.
Like, you can't sleep in the cell with a black guy.
Really?
No, it's against the law.
A Mexican gang member cannot have a black cellie.
No. He has to go to the hole.
So he has to basically fight that guy.
They sabotage black and white people on jobs, get black and white people fired on jobs, and then you will see their cousins, their uncles, their brothers, their sisters, and everybody on the job got fired because they didn't try to get you out of there, and their whole family is there. And don't let one of them get to become a supervisor.
You know what? I'm going to just sit this one out.
For real, folks? Are you sure?
Yeah, I am sure.
Every 5 seconds, I'm seeing a video of a minority group saying, where are the black people? We're at home. We're relaxing. We're chilling. We're hanging back. You're talking about come together. Why? We tried to do that. We've been trying to do that forever. All right? You can't sit up here and be mad at us for wanting to not roll with y'all right now. It's just what it is. It's like, let's say we was on a farm and black people plowed the field, planted the seed, watched it grow. In the midst of its development, there's food to be eaten off of it. Y'all come in and have no food. Y'all see ours. We share. But you see the white people field over there, and you thought that it tasted better whenever you got a little crumb of it. And so you thought, when the white people said, let's burn down their field, you thought that you was going to eat off their field. And now that you voted for that ass, voted to destroy our field, and you're watching it burn, you go over there with your bowls hey, can I get some food? And they go fuck off. And now you're looking at us and you're running to the water and you're trying to get buckets and trying to pour it out onto the field because you realized that you was eating from that field. That was your main source. You fucked yourselves and tried to fuck us in the process. I mean, you literally thought that you was going to throw us to the side and get accepted by this, when we had already accepted and gave you a plate. And now, the field is burning, and you want us to run outside and get a bucket with you and pour it the fuck out? And put the fire out? No. How about this? Y'all put the fucking fire out. And y'all replant that bitch. And y'all show us y'all ready to do some work. Stop complaining. Stop looking at us. We did the work. We was here. You benefited off of our labor. You benefited after our protests, our demonstrations. Everything was geared to helping not just us, but your ass too. And I'm also talking to the white women, because you part of that minority group too. So, look, you can miss us with the, where is the black people at? We right here, just watching. We standing back and watching and seeing what the fuck you do. Because then that will determine what we decide to do later.
I now feel for the black community because I know what it feels like to be racially profiled. I didn't know it before, and I thought it was a little bit of a reach, but now I totally get it. That's what a man came out on here and said. And this is why we should believe victims. This is why we should believe people's stories. This is why we should have empathy. And this is why we should be able to put ourselves in other people's shoes. Because you thought it was a reach. That's what he said. He thought it was a reach when the black community said that they were being racially profiled and they were getting stopped for no reason. And like, it probably wasn't that serious. But now that Latinos are getting racially profiled, now he gets it. This is why empathy is so important, because you never know when the tables turn. And no, it shouldn't be transactional. It really shouldn't. You should believe people because you should think. You should be able to think outside yourself and be like, if that was me, I would hate that. I don't have to be black to realize that that freaking sucks. That what they go through, what they've experienced, sounds painful. That I can't even imagine the years of frustration and honestly, just freaking frustration and anger that they must feel. But guess what? Now Latinos get it. Now. And that is why we are in the situation that we are, because people don't feel for others until it happens to them.
Hello there, brothers and sisters. Welcome to the channel once again, and thank you so much for watching up until the end. So now from the videos we can see that after the elections and the policy outcomes, some Latinos have found themselves affected by these strict immigration enforcement and, reduced protections, reinforcing their earlier warnings that they were given by the black communities. So now these Latino folks are coming to terms with, these harsh rules, immigration policies that have seen most of them being deported. So this has created tension with some black voices saying, we tried to tell you, while others still call for unity instead of blame. But it's indeed very true that the black folks warned them about these things, because these are the same things that President Trump said he would do when he got to office, but they still went ahead and voted in Donald Trump. So at the same time, it's important to note that Latinos are not monolith. Many Latinos voted against Trump and stood in solidarity with black Americans. Only 42% of them voted for President Trump. So the situation highlights a recurring lesson, that is, political power without solidarity can weaken minority communities as a whole. So the relationship between Black Americans and Latinos today is shaped by both our shared struggles and political disagreements, which do not matter as much because we are basically going through almost the same struggles, and the future depends on a honest and a conversation that we can forge a relationship that can have the Latinos and the Black communities working together. So thank you so much for watching. You can share with me your thoughts down below in the comment section. Also, if you're coming across the channel for the first time, please take a minute to like, subscribe, and share, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.